Okay, Rob Andrews, thanks for talking with me today on Montana Youth Soccer Tech Talk. I really appreciate you giving up your time. You are the president of United Futsal. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak about futsal anytime, anywhere. I started my futsal journey as a study abroad student in Spain, 2006. It was part of the culture. So every day we went to school from 8 to 12. We went home and had lunch. And then you either take a siesta for the afternoon or you go to the pistas, which are the courts. And you got to think of like a basketball game at the YMCA where everybody's waiting for the next one. You know, whoever loses gets off and the next one gets on. You know, winner stays on. There were 8 courts. We could pay €1 to rent one. We never paid the euro. There were 30 of us, and you just waited to play. And so some days you got to play. I played one day for 5 hours straight. We never lost. And I had another day where we lost our first game and never got back on. And I was still there for those 4 or 5 hours. It was the cultural center. It was the hub. It was the center of my social life there. Some of my fondest memories come from those futsal courts. And I was at the time coaching the Division I soccer on the men's side with Appalachian State University, and had gotten involved with the Carolina Railhawks, an upstart USL team that came back to Raleigh, my hometown. And when I had come back from this Spain opportunity, I started doing those coaching things, but it always stayed with me. And then in 2010, I was fortunate enough to get to go back to Spain, but this time doing some soccer tours with some of the club teams that we were working with at Castle, Capital Area Soccer League in Raleigh, where I was a director. And I found futsal again, and this time at the professional level, and was able to really connect those two worlds in my mind, that cultural, amateur, fun, grassroots youth center, to this potential pathway for professional, and realize this is actually a sport. This is not just a thing that you do for fun. This is actually a full professional sport in Spain. So when I came back, I really was, it was also 2010, which helps. You got Alexi Lalas in your ear, right? About we're never going to be the, why can't we win a World Cup and that kind of stuff. And I just remember thinking, I've seen this thing. I think it could help soccer players in the U.S. And so I went and got an investor and built our first facility, refurbished an old gym. It was a fitness center that a Lifetime Fitness showed up down the street, and they couldn't rent it out to anybody else. And so they ended up letting us do what we wanted. And we put the first hardwood floor with no basketball lines on it in there. And we did that for 3 years until Disney called with an offer to do the World Futsal Championships together. They had done an audit and found that 1 million Brazilian tourists were coming every summer, and they wanted to capitalize on that. And they realized that they love futsal. And so it has been a fast ride since 2014, where every conversation starts with what is futsal. And I'm very excited about this conversation, which we can do that, but we can also move into some more advanced topics, which are great. Because in the last 6 or 7 years, we've really seen this sport explode around the country and around the world from a participation level.
That is awesome. I think a lot of people think that futsal came from Brazil, but it actually started in Uruguay, I believe, in the 30s, if I'm not mistaken.
Very, very good. You're one of the few who knows the secret. The Uruguayan friends of mine will tell you that Brazil stole it from them soon after, but that plaque is there. And what's very interesting, this may resonate with some of your audience in Montana. This sport started as a response to Uruguay not having the facilities that Brazil and Argentina had, and they needed to compete. They had a population of only 4 million. And Brazil and Argentina, had much more, and they were just tired of being perennially beaten from a development standpoint. They started to look to the future, and they found these YMCA's, and that's where this sport started. And the benefits of it, again, was a response to facility issue, but it turned into all these development benefits that they didn't know were there. Started to show, and some of the greatest players that we've seen in the modern day, Luis Suarez, Diego Forlan, they all come from Uruguay, and they have this culture that's deep rooted for a population of only 4 million. less than a third, I think, of Sao Paulo, one city in Brazil. For them to be able to compete and in the one World Cup, get to the Final Four. This is remarkable, and definitely futsal played a huge role in that for Uruguay as a culture.
That is awesome. I mean, we're a very small rural state. We're 1 million people, but we're, I think, the fourth largest state in the country. So we're really spread out. We don't have indoor facilities, but we do have basketball gyms all over. And Montana Youth Soccer wants to encourage all of our clubs to play futsal. We're indoors about 4 months out of the year, starting now, going through February into March. We do have a few clubs that do play futsal, but we would like this to grow statewide, and hopefully our goal is to have a futsal league during our winter time. So, we don't have the facilities that a lot of larger states have. We're very small state, rural, spread out. So I think futsal is perfect for the facilities that we do have. You're the president of United Futsal. What is United Futsal?
United Futsal is a company that was created, again, to take part in those type of opportunities, such as the World Futsal Championships at Disney. We had started in 2012 producing the World Futsal Cup, which was a response to, in Raleigh, when I built that facility, we didn't have anybody to play against. The closest games were 3 hours and 4 hours away. There was a group in Charlotte and there was a group in Charleston, South Carolina. But in Raleigh, I was the only one that was doing futsal. And so we wanted to see how good our players could be. And we wanted to know where we needed to get to. What does the top level look like? I've never been one who would be nervous about, we're going to play this game, we might lose, right? I want to know what the top level looks like, to know how to train, to know, what was going on. So we had a we had 4 different teams go, and the youngest team got invited into a tournament that was in Spain, and the older 3 teams were just going to go on tour. But FC Barcelona was playing in that youngest tournament that was playing in Madrid. And so we ended up creating a tournament for the older 3 age groups, and FC Barcelona sent all of their teams. And so we ended up creating, instead of just friendly matches, we built a tournament out of that called the World Futsal Cup. We moved that tournament to Barcelona the next year, and it's now in its 9th edition over the Christmas holiday. And Brazilian teams like Santos and Corinthians, some of the biggest names in the world, have also had that similar problem that I didn't realize. At the youth level, FIFA is pretty hands-off when it comes to organizing events, because it's not really their role. They sponsor and promote and endorse grassroots, but it's not their job to put on events necessarily for the younger ones. So we've slid into that role, that niche of organizing the top level competitions in the world. And now we are in the process of figuring out how to build back down to a team in Montana that wakes up the same as my kids in Raleigh. How do I do this? I kind of like this sport. We're having fun here in the YMCA or in the basketball gym doing this. I want to know what comes next. Do I have to go to Billings or Bozeman? And then what happens? Do I go to Oklahoma City, to play in a national championship and see? So our partnership with US Youth Soccer, we think, is the best way to build down in the pyramid to get to those 3 million players and expose them to futsal in a way that's healthy, in a way that we're able to not just say, here's a tournament, good luck, but actually foster the growth and say, here's the educational resources you're going to need to learn how to do this sport. Here is the tools, right? But then also here's the competition pathway. For many of these kids, they don't really need anything more, or they're not going to want anything more than a winter escape from the cold, to stay in with touches on the ball, stay in form, getting ready for the spring season or summer season. But the truth is that, again, futsal can be its own competitive pathway. And I think Tom and Skip and the guys at US Youth Soccer have done a fantastic job of creating this vision to replicate what's done in the outdoor for other teams. And I can tell you an anecdote here, but the best players in Russia don't come from Moscow. The best players in Russia come from Siberia, because they're indoors and they're very, very good players, very good players. And they're also able to be seen. And so you see scouts showing up at futsal matches to find hidden gems that nobody's seen because they're not, in Phoenix or in SoCal at these big showcase tournaments. We hope to find players who may be left behind by the current soccer pyramid and bring them back into the fold. And I know that Cindy Cohn, the president of U.S. Soccer, shares that that thought that futsal can be a place for, we call sometimes the island of the misfit toys, places where nobody quite knows where did this player go or what happened, or doesn't matter. We can find them and we can bring them back in a healthy and safe environment, but a competitive one that they can actually strive to be better. You're not just going to be a better soccer player. That's going to happen by default, just like swimming or running will also make you a better soccer player. You're going to be a better futsal player, which in turn will increase your decision making, will make you play faster, will make you in the attacking third much more creative. It will break down walls for players without a coach having to say, if you do this, this, and this, you will score. They're going to have to discover that on their own, because every goal, we always say in futsal, no goal is ever the same. You'll never score the same goal twice. And that you're going to have 50 shots a game for each team. That's a lot of opportunities to score a lot of goals, and kids and players and myself love scoring goals. So this is
yeah, who doesn't?
So this is our goal to kind of bring it all the way back here. You've got a group of kids in wherever in Montana. They want to form a team. The beauty of our sport is when you're 5 years old till you're 55 years old till you're 95 years old, you only need 5 players. And that's a big difference between soccer and futsal from a format standpoint that helps us be that social, that cultural center. Your same 5 buddies that you play with growing up, you can also have a social game as you get older and keep playing. When you look at some of the best teams from Montana at age 6, 7, 8, and 9, they probably compete very well in Region 4 against some of the teams that are out there, because you might have 2 or 3 really good players and there's only 5 on the field. Then you have to get 7 on the field. Then you have to get 9 on the field. And then when it gets to 11, you've got to go find 18 players to go compete against Denver and compete against, some of the bigger places that have huge population. It's not so much that you don't have the talent in Montana, because I'm sure you do. It's about the quantity of talent that is required to play soccer, and to even organize a practice or organize a game. You've got to have 18 kids on both teams that want to do this as a sport, versus in futsal, you need 7 or 8 or 9. This is the biggest difference. So can we get those 8 or 9? They decide they want to do this. Can United Futsal help United States Youth Soccer? Can we help USYS to build all the resources and all the pathway for that team to go from, hey, we want to do this in a gym, all the way to a national championship in Oklahoma City? And that's what we're working on right now.
Everything that you're saying there just suits us so well, especially being a rural state. A lot of our clubs have trouble forming teams, so they end up grouping a bunch of age groups. They may group 2 or 3 age groups together just to form a team, where in futsal, we can get 5 players, 7 players on a team, and we can go play even in our smallest communities. So that's another advantage for us to play futsal. Looking at the advantages for futsal for us, if I were to look at the technical side of the game of futsal, you have to play in such a tight, small space. And again, I'm looking to improve our players for the outdoor game. The national championship is great. I think that's a goal that we should aim for. It's probably, 3, 4, 5 years away for us. But I like having goals. I like keeping the carrot in front of the horse. But technically, how can futsal help our players prepare for the outdoor game?
It's a great question, and it's really what starts most of these conversations. So I'll give you a few stats here based on the FIFA 2012 World Cup. That was the last time that a comprehensive study was done, really comparing the 2010 FIFA Futsal World Cup in Thailand with the 2012 World Cup that was done in 2010 that was done in South Africa, and 2012 that was done in Thailand for futsal. There are, according to book Outliers, Malcolm Gladwell, there's 600% more ball contact in futsal in a session than there is in soccer. So a lot of people have kind of keyed in on this, like the new thing, right? We get, when I was growing up, it was Oprah, you know, she would find this new special berry that nobody had found. And now every breakfast, lunch, and dinner, we're eating, you know, this special Brazilian superfruit, you know, that Oprah told us about. The truth is that futsal as a super thing or a magic potion has just come out kind of recently. Oh, Messi did it. Ronaldo did it. It's not that futsal's magic. It's all about probabilities. If you're getting 600% more opportunities to do anything in life, to hammer a nail, to build a cabinet, to do anything, you will be better at doing that thing. And so just the game itself, you're looking at a goal every 6 minutes in futsal. You're looking at a shot every 43 seconds. I always liken it to my growing up with my dad, the worst coach I ever had, who was at U9 or U10, I think was when he had to retire. I think he was forced into retirement after our undefeated season with the Cobras, because I was put all the way at the top with the goalkeeper and my whole team had to work to get me the ball. And then if I scored 3 goals in the game, I was given candy after it was done. And from a development standpoint, couldn't be a worse idea than that, but there's no offside and he used every rule to his advantage. The issue was one game I didn't score the 3 goals. You know, we ended up winning, but I only scored 2 and I was upset. I only got 3 total shots and I missed 1. And it's likely as you get older, you start looking at it, in a game, it's likely a player's only going to touch the ball for 2 minutes. So out of 2 minutes, we're putting our 11-year-olds, our 10-year-olds, our 13-year-olds, they're in a high stress environment as the attacking position specifically. Every shot you get, there's a chance that's your last shot of the game. That might be the only scoring opportunity for the whole team. What pressure does that player have on them? And we talk about facilities, even in the cities here in Raleigh, it is a luxury to have 2 goals at your practice because we put all the teams on the same field. It's all about possession. It's so much to teach, right? And how much time do we spend in front of the goal where these players can actually fail, where they can try things, where they can do it? The game of soccer is not conducive to getting a lot of opportunities in front of goal. That's what makes it so special, why we go crazy when a goal is scored, because it's special. These games are not 9 to 8, you know, but in futsal, they can be. They don't even have to be. They can be 3 to 2, but I've seen 50 shots on team A and 47 shots on team B, and the game finishes however, but I was never more than a minute from seeing something exciting. So as we look through from just a strictly numbers and technical standpoint, that amounts to 3.2 times more goals, 5.4 times more shots, 2.8 times more shots on goal every time you train futsal. So if I make a mistake, if I miss that shot, I'm going to get 9 or 10 more opportunities in the same session, whether it's a game, whether it's a practice. So I'm going to try things in futsal. As a defender, if I dribble out of the back, let's say, the cardinal sin, right? I tried to break through a pressure in the back. If we get scored on in outdoor, I'm getting benched. I may never get to play again. All the parents won't talk to my parents anymore because they're mad. Like, you're not allowed to even try to do what we love from Willian and some of our favorite outside backs in the pros that do this stuff on a regular basis. Where did Willian come from? He's Brazilian. He's been doing that in futsal. And if you're 4-on-4 and you break a double team, if you're a defender, you're now 3-on-2 going to goal. You're going to get a shot. If you're in outdoor and you were to break a double team with a great wall pass or something was to happen, we're 2 minutes away from anything taking place. Maybe a cross happens down the field, maybe not. But once you've passed that ball, you might get that courtesy applause from the crowd saying, great job, right back, you know, great job, left back. But you don't get an instant gratification. You don't get an instant reward or consequence. Every decision in futsal, if you make a bad pass, turnover, they get the ball. If you make a bad shot, turnover, they get the ball. And they're coming at you. They have 4 seconds to get the ball back in. So I haven't mentioned in this entire response the coach at all, because the coach is the secondary of futsal, not the primary. The game is the primary and the coach is secondary. We will help teach with our university. United Futsal is working with USYS to build courses, specific to the different levels and stages of coaching. But what we want is facilitators that use these rules and the kids' passion and love to win and to score goals and compete. Can we mold this environment into something that the kids leave begging to come back the next time? And it's going to build the development that way, as opposed to a militaristic, you've got to do this futsal. Messi did this. You're going to be the next Messi. That's not what makes futsal players. It's the enjoyment that makes futsal players. And that's why I think it's a perfect fit for the culture that you're trying to build there. Like you said, even if they never get to the national championship, there's still plenty in this game that will make them better as a player when it comes to frequency and quantity of touches in a controlled environment, let's call it.
Yeah. I travel the state doing coaching education, and I do a lot in the wintertime, and we're indoors in gyms, and when I get the kids out there playing, they start banging it off the wall, and the first thing I say to the coach is that game like? If you did that in the outdoor game, you just kicked it over the touchline and the other team's getting the ball. So as soon as we make that change and make it more game-like, the game gets better. Almost instantly it gets better. But I hear the kids say, well, my coach lets me bang it off the wall. I think when you do that, you're cutting down on the technical part of the game. You don't have to be accurate in your passing. You don't have to have a quality, first touch when you're receiving. I think it takes away from the game, and it actually creates bad habits. So if I were to look at futsal, now I look at the tactical side. The stats you gave me were amazing about how often they're getting shots. So obviously, tactically on the offensive side, they are penetrating very quickly, right? So what can you tell me tactically on the offensive side? We'll talk offense first. A lot of combination play, looking to penetrate, I'm guessing.
So yeah, I'll start with one thing that's interesting. Everything is offense in futsal, and everything is defense. So the first thing is you don't have to compartmentalize your training, and you don't have to compartmentalize your team. Telling a player, first session I ever ran, I'll never forget. We had we're working on the different style of play, and there's some natural ability on the team. And this one kid will not go across half, and they're 8 years old. And he said, my coach says defenders don't go across half. And I remember just thinking, wow, these sponges have been programmed with absolutes, certain absolutes. This never happens. When you go down the line, you always cross. When you do this, you always do. And it wins, and it has success manipulating the game. So exactly what you said. We're not punishing the players for using something to their advantage. They're smart. They're clever. If the wall is there, and I'm in two defenders are on me, and I'm in the back, right? So I'm one of the last man back. I've got two players pressuring me. My goalkeeper put me under with a terrible rollout, and I'm stuck. If I'm an indoor, I call that we call it D none of the above on the test. I don't know the answer to this question. D none of the above, whack it off the wall, and let's see. And the truth is, in the offensive side, if you shoot the ball and miss and hit the wall, it's the best shot you can have. The goalkeeper dives, they're on the ground, the ball comes right back to you, and you can score a wide open goal. How can missing the goal be the best technical play that you can make, or tactical strategy decision, I guess, is what I would call it. So in futsal, like you said, making the situations game-like, there is the first primary, the primal benefit here that's going to happen. The core benefit is every decision that is made has an immediate reward or an immediate consequence. And there is no in between. You did the right thing, you did the wrong thing. You will know. You don't look over at coach. Did I do this well? You'll know. Did they score on you? Did they take it away from you? Were you able to break it? The coach can help identify things you can't see. Like, did you see that player making a run on the back post? It was too fast. You didn't see it. The coach can freeze and say, look over here. And the player usually, without any coaching points, will go, oh no, because they know that's where the ball goes, but it was too fast. Well, next time they're going to start, thinking and looking at that. What I would tell you from a tactical standpoint, the biggest issue that it took me 3 years to really be able to put my finger on it. Why is basketball, we're world champions in basketball. We're able to do this, but the European players are starting to really have their influence in the NBA now. What do they do that's so different? And when we go to the Olympics, that we see some of these small countries like Lithuania doing so well in basketball, they have mastered what is in between. We have our quadrant, right? We have our technical, tactical, physical, and the psychological. There's an area on that line that is called individual tactic, that is a blend between technical side and tactical side. What am I asking about? Well, are we going to use the sole of the foot to receive, or pass with the instep, or are we going to receive with the instep? That's technical. Are we going to play a 4-4-2? Are we going to play 4-3-3? That's tactical, right? What goes in the middle of that? How do I create space? Where does the ball go? And when does the ball go there, right? So the how is how do we do this? What are we doing and how do we do it? That's the technical side. But there's the where and the when of this that sits in between the what and the how of the technical and the what and the how of the tactical, that futsal teaches. And what teaches that in basketball is automatic. If you're playing 3-on-3, you have to get open. You have to create space. And then when you can't get open on your own, your buddy will step in and set a pick for you to get open, right? And this is evolution of the game, not whether we're playing a 3-2 zone or whatever the basketball things are. It's just us on the playground. I have to get open. I need the ball. So the two big things are these that make futsal the perfect sport to work on that for outdoor. First is when you receive a ball in basketball, you get to catch it in your hands. It's my ball. There's no question. In outdoor, because of the way we receive the ball, it's never actually your ball. You're just guarding it. You're just shielding it. That's why we call it shielding, right? It's mine. But if I'm holding the ball, it's just I'm the closest to it. But every time you dribble, every time you move, it's another 50-50 ball, really, that you're just still in control. You have the bigger advantage. In futsal, because we can use the sole, because we don't have those pesky cleats under the shoe, I can make this my ball. That ball is passed to me, it goes under my foot, and it stops. So you have this flow, and if you watch some of Messi's best highlights, you may not know why your blood gets going and why you start getting excited and stand up out of your chair. It's because the ball is always moving in soccer until it gets to him and he steps on it, like in futsal. And he freezes the rhythm of the game, and he restarts at his cadence, at his rhythm, at his style. He's in control. Every player who receives a ball in futsal is in control. And based on the decision that they make, everybody else responds. And because there's not 11 players, the ripple effect is multiplied 10 times, because every player on the court needs to adjust and react to what that player did. So to conclude all of this together, I would put it like this. When we do outdoor, because of this very hard dichotomy of technical versus tactical training sessions, we are working on a player-focused approach to what we're gonna do, which would be, I'm gonna pass the ball to this person. They have three options. If they're working alone, they're gonna dribble, pass, or shoot. If they're working with me, they have three options. They can wall pass, they can overlap, they can do a whatever, give and go, different things. We have these things that we've taught these players. Here's what you can do. But when we're talking about space, the ball being played to where it needs to be, and the player needs to be at the place where the ball is going to be at the same time, that's chemistry. These are soft sciences. These are things that take time. They take lots of sessions, right? They take a lot of touches. Well, 600% more touches is enough time for us to learn, if I pass this ball at this perfect weight, at this perfect time, the player can be there. We're actually solving problems where we see what the defense is doing and we're addressing that. You take that out of the gym, that goes directly to the attacking third, right at the top of the 18. When we've told these players, you have three options, either shoot, either cross, either this. No, you have unlimited options. And remember in futsal, when we did this one play where I ran this way and found this seam and you played the ball through, this is where they get to explore. And remember, they're going to miss 9 of these opportunities. They're going to try and it's going to be terrible. Balls get passed what looks like to no one. But the pass wasn't the problem. It was the runner that was the problem. They didn't see the same thing that the passer saw. So to kind of summarize this, the individual tactic, playing to space and not to the man, that would be for me, the main differences that you can learn in futsal that immediately complement your outdoor game, something you're not probably working on in outdoor that you would be able to, and in an environment that has no coefficient of friction that the grass has. So that weight of the pass has to be perfect or it's running off. And again, we're not yelling at these players if they make a mistake. The ball just goes out and they turn the ball over. It's a consequence. Try again, try again, try again. And eventually, out of 50 shots, one of those is going in. Take that success, go to outdoor where you're only going to get 2 or 3 shots. And you're going to end up seeing dynamic offensive players, fearless defensive players, and goalkeepers who are engaged in the game if they've played futsal in the off season.
You know, I like the fact that you referred to basketball, because I actually do that a lot in my coaching education, because a lot of people are familiar with basketball and they're not with soccer. And, you know, one of the things you mentioned is, you know, who's playing defense. And I ask kids, who here plays defense? And, you know, 2, 3, 4, or half the group will raise their hand. And I say to the other kids, well, what are you doing when the other team has the ball? Defense is not a position. Defense is something you do. And right.
That's right.
So
exactly
it kills me when a kid says, I'm a defender. So I go, okay, so what do you do when your team has the ball? It's impossible to defend when your team has the ball. Right. So I love the analogy. I use it in basketball. Who plays defense in basketball? Everyone. Who plays offense? Everyone. It sounds like futsal is pretty much the same thing. And if I look at the defensive side of the ball in the outdoor game, 90% of all confrontations are 1v1. I would guess in futsal, you know, you're going to be a better individual defender by playing futsal when it comes to the outdoor game.
You are in outdoor often able to just delay, just wait, and enough numbers will get behind the ball that it feels insurmountable to an attacker that they pass. So just weather the storm. You know, one-on-one in outdoor is very much a it's a striker's game, right? The one-on-one, the striker needs to finish, should finish. The goal, size of the goal, there's so many reasons. In futsal, it's probably a coin flip. And when you're talking about one-on-one, normally we're thinking about defenders here. In futsal, you're going to learn very quickly, one-on-one is a striker and a goalkeeper. If you are a defender and you've still got the goalkeeper back, if you guys will work together, it's still 1-on-2. It's not 1-on-1. And in soccer, it's the team. Think about our formations. We always joke about the late Tony DeChico had a great thing. He said, "What's a 4-3-3?" He said, "You're missing a player. It's a 1-4-3-3." and I remember, you know, we do not respect goalkeepers at all in the outdoor game. And in futsal, they are primary. They are necessary. They are the ones, they're the only ones who are looking when you're, you know, everybody's chasing back this way. We're actually the ones who can see what's going on behind you. We can see everywhere around you. So as a former goalkeeper, I can tell you it is the most fun sport to play because I'm involved, actively involved, and so much that futsal had to make a rule that you can only pass back to me for 4 seconds one time in the possession. You're not allowed to keep passing back to me because it would be too effective. We'd be able to play 5-on-4 the whole game because it's not like hockey where I have all these pads. I can just do this. So the thought process here is the goalkeeper is of paramount importance as opposed to a forgotten extra thing. When you're defending, that goalkeeper, he or she is your number one help. They can see everything. They're your biggest asset. And most of the time, defenders just try to go at it alone. It's you against the world. It's me on an island. If you'll just listen, it's not you on an island. I can help. You know, I'm here to help you. And so I think that futsal, because you need them so much, because they don't just make amazing saves and have to make so many saves in a game. 50 shots is a lot of saves, but they also jumpstart. When I make a save, I've got the ball. I'm ready to attack. I've only got 4 seconds. I'm not allowed to just sit and relax and calm and kind of like breathe out. I'm immediately attacking them as well. And there's so many different training, I'm going to call environments, not necessarily games because they're not competitive game, but just king of the court or the round robin tournaments that we do, the little mini cups that we do, that when you lose, it's 20 players, it's 5, you know, on, and when you lose, you're off. you're going to be sitting out for 2 games. You don't want to lose. You don't. And as a defender, that defending becomes, we can't concede. We can't, it's me and my goalkeeper. And if it's 2 of us or 3 of us, like you said, you get used to, I've got to do this as a goalkeeper. I've got to do this myself. Then as a defender, I've got to do this myself. And you build that character of, I refuse to be beaten 1v1 because I can't let the team down. Then you build that into a team setting outdoors. You're going to have ravenous defenders who are not accustomed to getting beat, because they're in an environment where getting beat holds a punishment, not from the coach, but from themselves. They don't want to leave. They don't want to get off the court. So again, when we talk about facilitators, talk about facilitating the sessions, that's where you're going to find the biggest value in futsal. If a coach tries to come in and teach futsal, meaning today, guys, we're going to do this, and this. They blow the whistle and stop every 3 seconds. That's not futsal. There are types of training that work. Corver works like that. There's a few others that work really well where they don't allow you to build bad habits. That's technical development. It's got its place. It's a very good thing. Futsal is not that. Futsal is something where the player has the control. We are allowing them to make mistakes. We're allowing them to use those Corver moves, use those other things that they've picked up along the way from anywhere, and see if it works in this setting. And if that move isn't working, they will adjust, they will adapt. So it's not a competitor to Corver. It's not a competitor to soccer. It's not a competitor to anything else. It's its own thing. And it's a complement to all of those things that the player is doing, but it's also very unique. And that's where these educational resources that we're working on with USYS are so big.
I'm glad you touched on that rule about the goalkeeper. So if the goalkeeper has the ball, if I understand this right, and they roll it out to a teammate, that teammate cannot play it back to the keeper until it is touched by an opponent. Is that correct?
That's correct. Or the goalkeeper is allowed to cross half line in certain settings in the game, and they are allowed to be treated just like a regular player. So on your own half, basically what it requires is, if you're going to risk, you need to go all in. You've got to choose. Is this the moment we're going all in? Is this late in the game? We need the goal. All right, goalkeeper's coming out. If let's say a shot misses, I go get it. I roll it out. That's my touch. You can't use me again. I've already used it. Now, if it goes out of bounds on the side and our team gets the ball and they want to play the ball in to me, that's one. Or they play it to someone else, they're still allowed to use me because they haven't used me in that possession. But once I've touched it, once in that possession on my half, I need to cross the line to be able to touch again. And if I cross the line and come back to my defensive side, but we haven't lost possession, I'm still not allowed to touch that ball again, because we don't want players making scared decisions, going backwards. Again, soccer is a perfect example. Playing the way you face is a fantastic style of play. It's a great way to simplify the game. I used it a lot when I was coaching outdoor, especially with central midfielders, to learn, look, there's no need to turn into pressure and all that stuff. In futsal, not an option. We're taking that away. You're not getting that option to just go back to the goalkeeper, put them under, and then act like it wasn't your fault. As a defender, you've got to think, you've got to solve problems. As a goalkeeper, solve problems, be put in a position where make them successful, help them don't give them the ball in a way where they would have to give it back to you. If you're their only option, you made a mistake because you can't help them here. So the goalkeeper touches the ball a second time, it's going to be an indirect kick. So it's not a penalty or anything. It's not something that's so, catastrophic, but it is enough of a shock to say, ooh, I don't want to do that again, and once they've gone through it, you will see players taking ownership of their decisions, taking responsibility for their decisions in a way that you haven't seen before, because they know we've got to attack. The rules require that we attack and that we learn to attack and that we try things. And again, 8, 7 times out of 10, not going to go your way. 3 times out of 10, you're going to do something amazing. And we're going to hold on to those 3 as a coach. We're going to build off of those 3, and hopefully we get to coin flip 50-50. But if my striker can go 1v1 against a defender in outdoor and 50-50 they're going to score, I'll take those odds all day, right? If we can do it.
Any day and twice on Sunday. You referenced these pickup games, and I'm dating myself. Going back when I was a kid, a long time ago, I remember playing those games where if you lost, you were off. And like you said, sometimes you didn't get back on, or you don't get back on for 20 minutes or 30 minutes. That sucked. So, I mean, talk about making players more competitive, making players more responsible for their actions on the field, because you don't want to come off. I never wanted to come off. I never wanted a coach to take me off. So I love those games. I think they build a lot. They motivate players. You have to make decisions, and there's a consequence for your decision if it's a bad one. And that's how you learn. You learn by mistakes.
And in our case with futsal, in outdoor, I don't know if you remember the days in recess with how we played, or even backyard football. It's the quarterback, it's his buddy, the receiver, and all the guys and girls go out in the middle, throw to me. It's going to one person, and that's it. And when we played in soccer, me and my travel soccer buddy, we got in our little, 2-man game, and we weren't passing to anybody. I mean, you weren't getting the ball. We didn't need to. We were able to outrun everybody. In futsal, because of the density of the court, there's nowhere really to go. So you can beat one person. It's like one of those ninja movies. You're going to still see another ninja each time you turn. And eventually, even a player that's not better than you, just with mass, just numbers, they're going to be able to take the ball because there's just too many, there's not enough space. And so if there's, for example, in the younger settings, it's a co-ed setting a lot of times, age under 10s, under 12s, they're still in Spain playing co-ed until under 12. If you're a guy and there's a girl over there on the left, the ball has to go left because the play dictates that the ball goes left. Whether you want to pass to her, whether you don't want to pass to her, she's getting the ball. And when she gets the ball, she needs you to be an option for her to be able to play. So it doesn't matter if it's your best friend on the side, if it's not your best friend, the participation level of this, and that's where in a school setting, this works really well because the principles of play are universal. It doesn't mean, obviously, if you're dead center and you've got them playing a diamond style of defense against you, there's two options, right or left. Of course, you're going to have your preference. But in most settings in futsal, there's great option, 2 or 3 decent options, and a couple really bad options. And you're always trying to assess, how do I get to play one of those great options if possible? It has nothing to do with if it's your buddy, if it's the best player, can we get them the ball? It has to do with, is this where the ball goes at this time based on what I'm seeing from the defenders? And does my team know what I'm going to try to do? Can they read me? Do they understand because of the chemistry that we have? So when you're looking at teams of 4 plus a goalkeeper with a few subs coming in every so often, what you're talking about is amplified even larger. I really don't want to go off. I've got this high intensity, high competitive thing going, but I can't do this myself. I can't put the team on my back, one player. I've got to use my teammates because it's impossible for me. If I try to do that, I'm going to lose the ball and potentially give up the goal that's going to put me out. And so the principles of play of futsal are universal, I think is one of the most fascinating parts of this when you talk about applying it to a grassroots setting, a social setting, which is one of my favorite parts of the game.
Yeah. So, I heard you talk this time, and a lot of the things that you mentioned is the player off the ball has to anticipate what's going to happen. And, in soccer, in outdoor game, they have to do the same, because if you react, you're usually too late. So I think futsal can really help kids tactically by anticipating what's going to happen next. And that's just gonna flow over to the outdoor game when they get to play, outdoors here in Montana, which won't be now till March or April.
We use the term on the on the baseball bat, when you put the donut on the baseball bat to swing, and then you take that donut off to hit the live pitch. You want to make it tougher on yourself if possible, so that when you get the live pitch, wow, this bat feels like nothing. My speed is so much better. That's exactly what's going on. Like you said, you do have to anticipate in soccer. You do, all these principles are still there. Same principles of play. But with the grass, there's a coefficient of friction that slows the ball down and slows me down and slows my defender down. And so the truth is, I've got an extra second or two to think about this, where I need to be, where's the ball going to go? Oh, I see the ball going there. I can maybe make up for it with my physical, that I'm so fast. The ball doesn't get there before I get there. We actually, the first time you'll ever have these soccer coaches coming inside, and I apologize to the soccer coaches that are going to be watching this for your first interaction with futsal. As you try to coach the way you would in outdoor, where you're telling Johnny, go here, Susie, go there, do this, by halftime, you're going to be sitting down on a ventilator because the ball is moving so fast that you just can't predict. You can't tell enough time, and the players can't even react enough. They're going to see the ball go out of bounds, and they're going to go, ooh, that's where I should have been. It's an immediate feeling. When you get scored on as a defender on the back post for the first time, it's like touching a hot stove or something. You will never, ever do it again. You'll know it's your fault, basically. You'll never think it's not your fault because everybody turns around and looks at you, and there's nowhere to hide. And it was definitely you. And there's no way to say it was somebody else or blame. In outdoor, there's 10 other people you can blame. The goalkeeper, you can blame. In that case, you didn't turn around. A person snuck in behind, pass comes to the back post, and it's in so fast, and you feel it in your stomach like, oh, I don't ever want to do that again. Well, in outdoor, you've got more time. It's easier to see, oh, I'm missing this runner. I can make up for it. In futsal, it's already gone. It's already happened. And so what we consider futsal is kind of that donut on a baseball bat before the live swings. A lot of the bad habits, a lot of the things that you don't want a soccer player to do, we can kind of wean them off of that in futsal before they hit the state championship or the big game where you just can't make that bad mistake. Let's go ahead and make it over here in futsal 7 times, and then you're ready to not make that mistake in outdoor.
So speaking of coaching and trying to coach futsal, at this point, do you think it would be necessary, or should our coaches look into specific futsal coaching? I know United Futsal, you guys offer a course. We do have a minimum requirement for our outdoor game here. All of our coaches are required to have some coaching education. Is that something our coaches should look into right now, or is that something down the road?
I think absolutely. We've got the courses that you referenced in our university, the foundations course. It was done by Wilton Santana, who is the author and the architect of Brazil's CBF methodology. So we had him start scientifically based. We did not want a rah-rah course. We did not want a marketing course, something that, if we're going to talk about what is futsal, let's get to the theoretical, and then let's move into the practical from there. So the Foundations Diploma is what I would consider a college level course. This is not something that is a small course. We have created before that a course called Futsal 101. And as a part of our partnership with USYS, I'm really excited to be able to offer you and the state of Montana coupon codes for all the coaches that you think would benefit from this Futsal 101. So we can go ahead and get them on that for free. It's about, depending on how long it takes, some people breeze through it. It takes an hour. Other people really chew on it. It can take, 4 or 5 hours to go through. But this is going to really lead you to everything from what are the positions to why is this done? What are the rules? All the way into some basic tactics. This will get you ready for a local winter indoor league. And then a lot of the learning that you're going to do in futsal is going to be experiential learning. It's going to be things that you get while you're actually on the court. But if you don't know where you're starting from, if you don't even know what your goal is, you'll end up like my dad, and you'll be working to make your son the best player in the league. And that's not, I can tell you from experience, that's not the best way to go for you or for your son or daughter. And I think that this Futsal 101 will set the table for everybody. It will really kind of get it there. And I'm thrilled that through the partnership, we're able to offer that at no cost, because it's going to leave no barrier to entry. Anybody listening to this podcast or anybody that you run into on the fields that emails you, hey, I'm looking into this, what do you think? let's get the education barrier to entry down. Let's get people to understand what is futsal. And then if we decide that this foundation's diploma is something that, you know, we want everybody to get a level 1, we want everybody to have a level 2, whatever that type of thing is, I think that's a discussion for later. But I think for right now, let's get everybody Futsal 101 certified, and parents that are on the sidelines that are just curious. Let's get them a coupon code as well. And let's get them on that, you know, to know what they're looking for, so that they're not coaching from the sidelines something that's different, you know, than futsal. So, which we know happens from time to time. So, yeah, I'm thrilled to be able to offer this. And I hope that you guys will take advantage, because it's a huge resource. And again, knowledge is power to building futsal in this country, not a barrier limiting people to enter into the country.
Yeah. If you could email me that coupon code, I'll get it out to every coach that wants it. We're going to be sending out an information. You know, this Tech Talk's going to be part of it. We're going to send it out statewide to all the clubs. So yeah, if you want to get me that coupon code, I'll be happy to share that and get that off to our coaches. We talked about a lot of things today. Wrapping this up, Rob, is there anything that you want to add?
No, I'm just thrilled to see states like Montana embracing futsal, because again, you have certain deficiencies. You have a population deficiency. You have the rural versus the cities. There's a distance issue. You're one of the largest states in the union that we have. How do we get a league started where you have to drive, you know, when I drive 7 hours, I'm in Florida. You know, if you drive 7 hours, you're still not out of the state in all the areas. So when I look at states like yours, I see futsal as the biggest potential tool to help you achieve the soccer results that you're looking for and the success that you're looking for, without having to dramatically change things that are outside your control, like population or facilities or anything. You've got all the tools you need. Let's get education going. And then let's create a competitive pathway for that 10% of players that want more. Let's see how they compete in Oklahoma City. Let's see how it goes. And I think 3 to 5 years from now, like you said, we'll be having another one of these talks, and hopefully in person, because COVID's behind us. But I think I think we're having a different discussion about Montana youth soccer based on the same model that Uruguay put together almost 100 years ago, which is, let's use what we've got, and we can compete against the big boys, you know, by doing that.
Awesome. Rob Andrews, President, United Futsal, I cannot thank you enough for this conversation. You know, I took an hour out of your life, and I know you're really busy, so I really appreciate it. But I think the coaches, the players of Montana Youth Soccer are going to get a lot out of this conversation. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much for the time. We look forward to seeing you guys on the courts.
All right, we'll be in touch. I'll look for those coupon codes. Talk later.
We'll send them over. Thank you.
Yeah, bye.